Hi, my name is Mike. The paper I will be presenting is State of the Art Embedding Security in Vehicles by Marco Wolf, Andre Wormskirch, Thomas Wallinger. Keep in mind that the paper is published in 2007, so there might be things that aren't applicable in today's use case. Many classical IT and software technologies are already well established within the automotive industries, such as code signing, software engineering, software component reuse, and software safety. However, IT security still has little attention in the context of automotive applications. The reason being that past car IT systems did not need security functions because was only little incentives for malicious manipulations, and security tends to be an afterthought in any IT systems. The situation has changed now since vehicular systems need to protect the driver, the manufacturer, and the component suppliers. Secure software update of electronic control units, prevent chip tuning, preventing the unauthorized change of the mileage and assembling non-original parts. In the future, IT security will be more important because reprogrammable ECUs have to be protected. Electronic anti-theft measures, legislative requirements, new business models, and vehicle communication scenarios. Vehicle IT security mainly applies to embedded systems which differ from the traditional PC-style computers. Embedded devices are usually limited hardware resources and limited external communication capacity. The attacker have physical access, cheap and cost sensitive in order to mass produce, as well as cost a lot of establish the organizational security policy. Cost a lot to establish the organizational security policy. There are six major security properties that cryptographic primitive and schemes helped enable. First, confidentiality. Second, integrity. Third, authentication, which is the origin of the message that is correctly identified. Fourth, identification, which is a service established the identity of an entity. Fifth is non-repudiation, and sixth is the access control. Symmetric key cryptography is used for encryption and decryption, which both communicating entities uses the same key. Security of the symmetric key cryptography depends on the security of the key. Therefore, key exchange between the parties should be done through secure channels. There are two types of secure symmetric key algorithms. Block cipher, which encrypts messages in blocks of fixed lengths. The most well-known block cipher is AES, which has a variable block and key size of 128, 192, and 256 bits. Stream cipher, which encrypts plaintext bit by bit, are used in environments with high transmission error, hardware constraint, or requires higher throughput. The limit of symmetric key cryptography are requires secure transmission of the key. In multiple users environment, each pair of the users shares a different key, resulting in many keys, as well as the key needs to be stored securely. Public key cryptography is based on the idea of separating the key used to encrypt a message from the one used to decrypt it. Its applications including key establishment and exchange, digital signature, and data encryption. There are three public key algorithm families. First is the integer factorizations, second is discrete logarithms, and third is elliptic curves. The drawback of public key encryption cryptography is due to the complex operations on large numbers, which results in poor throughputs and can only transmit small amount of data. Digital signatures is a popular application of public key cryptography. It is used to prove one party actually generate the message, also called non-repudiation. Usually, we use private key for signing and public key for verifications. Since verification of digital signature is fast, embedded devices are capable of such operation even for its constrained hardware resources. Hash function is used to compress a message of any length to a unique string of fixed length. Its one-way function means It's a one-way function, meaning it is computationally infeasible to compute the input if only the hash value is known. Hash functions can't prevent collisions, but it has to be hard for the attacker to find the collisions. There are two major families of hash functions. The MD family generate hash values up to 128 bits, but it has been proven vulnerable. The SHA family generates hash value of up to 512 bits, although SHA-1 was proven vulnerable, but other higher SHA variants are still secure. Hybrid encryption is a mixture of public key cryptography and symmetric key cryptography. Since the public key cryptography is slow, it is used for initial key establishment. Then, the symmetric key algorithm is chosen to encrypt the communications. This achieves higher throughput and secure key exchange. Challenge response protocol provides identification either using knowledge, possession, or individual properties. The basic idea of the protocol is that one party challenges the second party. For example, by sending a random number, the challenge party then has to answer with the correct response. The figure shows on the right shows the figure shown on the right shows Alice challenged Bob by sending a random number C. Bob encrypts C together with the identity of Alice and returns the response R. Bob is authenticated once the identity of Alice and the random number are correctly verified. Note that only Bob can respond to the challenge correctly, since only Bob possesses the knowledge of the appropriate secret key K. There are four different groups of attackers in the automotive areas. In case of the theft may have considerable technical expertise and some appropriate tools. However, a thief usually has only limited physical access and limited time. In case of car owner, they normally have only little technical expertise, a few appropriate device, as well as restricted financial resources for applying an attack. Skilled garage employees have appropriate tools, have the necessary technical expertise, and are mostly endued with insider informations. They even would invest money if an attack pro- promises appropriate revenue. This is if the attack can be scaled to many automobiles easily. The last group includes concurrent manufacturers, counterfeiters, and organized crime that may have immense technical and financial resource limited only be the potential economic gain. The motivation of this group is to gain competitors' intellectual properties or to exploit the outcome of an attack commercially. Attacks on automotive hardware comprise attacks to replace critical components with unauthorized components or to illegally modify existing components. Hardware attack aim at the of protection by readout of secret keys. Hardware attacks aim at the protection by readout of secret keys, deactivation of alarm channels, or wiretapping their operation or communication. Automotive IT systems are mostly unprotected against malicious software attacks. For example, ECU memories can be accessed without any further restrictions using their regular interface. Also, ECU without further measures for temporary resistance can be dismounted and analyzed offline using sophisticated analysis equipment. On the other hand, encryption keys are mostly stored somewhere unprotected or can be guessed easily. Lastly, disabling sophisticated software protection measures by re-engineering the decisive validation branch within the binary enables circumvention of almost all available software protection mechanisms. The overall security objectives of vehicles are defined as below, namely confidentiality of data. Unauthorized access to protected data must be invisible. Integrity of data, which is unauthorized modification of data, must be invisible or at least detectable. Third, the hardware and software integrity, which is unauthorized modification of vehicular hardware and software must be invisible or at least detectable. Availability, which is unauthorized hardware and software components must have proper access to their dedicated data and services. Lastly, the uniqueness, which is the unauthorized cloning of a hardware component must be invisible or detectable. The technical constraints of automotive IT system is subject to the following constraints. First off, computing resources are limited but requires to provide real-time capabilities. Also, physical constraints such as high variations of temperature, moisture, mechanical loads, and to cope with these conditions for up to 20 years. Moreover, vehicular IT systems has to work properly in limited communication capacities. Lastly, since there are limited user-friendly interfaces, vehicular IT systems are required to run autonomously. Security module, which is also called a security anchor, provides necessary secure relevant methods such as encryption and decryption, generation and verification of signatures, hashing, and secure storage of cryptography keys. A hardware solution provides higher performance and a far higher security level. It is possible to deploy a single central security module in vehicles, for example, at central control units, or to implement it in each control unit that has a need for security. A security module must fulfill following requirements, including unclonable, secure key storage, secure computations, and alarm channel. Security modules can achieve the following properties. One, first, it can save code size and cost. Second, the software-based security module is able to prevent runtime software attacks. Third, the hardware-based security module is able to prevent both software attacks and detect hardware-based attacks. In the following, we present mechanisms based on cryptography methods and the security module that enable security components and business models. Proprietary special component constructed by a single manufacturer can only provide minimal hardware security. A more reliable approach for detection of fake components use small computing tags attached to each crucial component in order to logically bind security-related parts to a specially protected central security module. To protect hardware IP effectively, all critical hardware cores have to be integrated completely into a single protected chip. Although there are methods to compromise even such SoC, they can be expensive and sophisticated. However, if the outcome is worthwhile enough, attack will still be carried out by the attackers. In order to provide effective software protection, the following requirements must be fulfilled. First, only original software must be accepted by the vehicle. Second, only authenticated parties are able to alter data. Third, the compromise of the single unit does not scale. Fourth, the security on the control unit should consume minimal resources. Figure 5 uses the example of secure software download process to demonstrate requirement 1, that is, only authenticated software will be accepted by the vehicle device. Table 4 shows the vehicle device is capable of verify the downloaded software since the program size is around 16 kilobytes that only takes 34 milliseconds to process. Further on figure 5, Trust Center can be set up by a PC that is air-gapped with a secure smart card that holds the smart secret keys. However, the vehicle device must make sure that its public key can be protected from manipulations. However, the vehicle device must make sure its public key can be protected from manipulations. Otherwise, the attacker can replace this key in the ECU and then introduce manipulated software. Challenge and response mechanism can be used to fulfill requirements too. The vehicle and an external party share a secret key. The parties then run a challenge response scheme in order to prove that the external party knows the secret key. After a successful run, the external party can access the vehicle's data. The external party uses the symmetric key management for the shared key is reasonable. Also, protecting the shared key has to be protected with hardware-assisted approaches. There are methods to mitigate risk of an attack. Software obfuscations, digital watermarking, or fingerprinting are among those solutions. However, it is important to note that they cannot replace a proper hardware-based software protection. The vehicle manufacturers start to open more and more communication channels to the car such that vehicles are about to become more open. Hence, sophisticated strategies for secure communication are necessary. There are three different general communication facets to consider here. First, in vehicle communication. For instance, to link a mobile device to the vehicle or to allow communication between head unit and anti-lock braking systems. Second, vehicle-to-vehicle communications. For instance, cars communicate to each other in order to transmit information about imminent dangers, traffic controls, or free parking spaces. In addition, it would be possible to group together cars on the highway and make driving more comfortable and safe. Third, vehicle to infrastructure communications, including digital content such as multimedia files, could be downloaded to a car when connected to the internet, and navigation data could be updated at the same time. Also, the license plate can be replaced by an electronic license plate that transmits the license number such that it can be used for various purposes, for example, wireless payments or automatic gateway access control. Several vehicular applications provide security features or are security relevant. These applications are usually based on a security modules and security mechanisms. The electronic immobilizer usually works in the following way. The vehicle sends a challenge to a passive batteryless transponder integrated in the vehicle key, which then answered by the response. Transponder and the vehicle share the secret key. Only if the transponder knows the secret key, then the vehicle will start. Hence, a vehicle's key that has the appropriate physical properties but does not know the secret cryptography keys will not make the vehicle start. For the electronic immobilizer, attacks at the hardware layer must be considered. Such a hardware attack can never be prevented at reasonable cost. The goal is to make such an attack impossible for a rational attacker. That is, the cost of an attack will exceed the gain of the stolen car on the black market. A hardware security module is an appropriate platform to provide such security goals. Furthermore, a so-called mafia attack is possible. Here, the vehicle's signal is forwarded over an external channel to the vehicle's key. This is in particular dangerous in combination with keyless entry systems where an adversary establishes a channel between the victim's vehicle and the victim such that the vehicle's door unlocks and the engine starts. Usually, once the vehicle starts, the engine will not turn off even if the key's signal is lost. A countermeasure is to use the distance bounding or multi-frequency hopping. However, the objective is not to set up a perfectly secure system, rather an economical secure system. Breaking breaking a single vehicle should be more expensive than the gain of the attacker. The key is equipped with an active battery-powered transponders. When pushing the button of the vehicle's remote control key, the vehicle will unlock the doors. Therefore, the so-called rolling codes are used. Both vehicle and key share the secret. Each time the key's button is pushed, a new secret is derived by the key and sent to the vehicle. The vehicle can compute the same transitions and compare the two values. If they are equal, the vehicle unlocks its doors. Attacks on remote key entry and keyless entry systems are located at the protocol and physical transmission layer. An attacker might try to compromise the secret key or to replay a message in such a way that it unlocks the doors. It is also susceptible to mafia attack. Digital tacho- tachographies and event data recorders are a well considered security relevant components in vehicles. Manipulations of tachographies have a serious safety and economic impact. Today, it is assumed that about a third of all used cars have was manipulated regarding to tachograph counter, for example, regarding to tachograph counter, for example, in order to achieve higher prices on the used market. In the case of trucks, the attacker usually is the truck driver or the owner who tries to circumvent rest period, speed limits, and law regulations. The attacker of this system is usually the owner or the driver of the vehicle. Hence, he has full physical access to any components and unlimited time for an attack. An attack on the hardware level is usually performed, and the goal is to achieve an economic gain. To defend such attack, the first objective is to detect manipulation. Thus, some kind of security module is required. This might even involve a security controller, such as a smart card controller, as described by the European law regulations for truck tachographies. The European law enforces that every truck driver uses a personalized smart card when driving the truck by inserting it to the digital tachograph. In order to prevent manipulation of the gearbox such that the motion sensors receive false input, Integrity of the motion sensor and gearbox must regularly be verified by police authorities. Illegal produced replacement parts cost a worldwide loss of about $3 billion per month. The professional organized manipulation of automotive electronics causes considerable damage to the manufacturers and to the economics by unwarranted claims, brand damage, and undermined business models. Moreover, counterfeit endangers the safety of all motorists and cyclists. Traditional methods to prevent counterfeits use text, for example, holographic stickers that are supposed to be unforgeable. However, there exist illegal business that create boxes, labels, and other significant trademark logos and emblems to let counterfeit looks like real parts. Automotive OEMs and suppliers always have a comprehensible interest to find out valuable expertise from their potential competitors. Moreover, even though intellectual property rights are legally effective in most countries in the world, there exist large domestic markets such as China, where IP thefts and infringement are virtually non-trialable. Therefore, expertise leakage and IP theft are serious problems. Expertise leakage and IP theft have to be tackled primarily applying organizational security measures such as scrutinizing potential partners and preventing employees from unintentional or intentional exposures. However, there exists cryptography technologies that can help protecting IP and expertise, or making a theft or leakage at least detectable. Embedding security in vehicle enables various new and interesting business models previously not possible. Particularly, it enables business model where all involved parties can benefit from. In the following, we present three exemplary business models made possible by progress in vehicular security. First, feature activations. Vehicular components should be produced in uniform standard components with all features built in to reduce cost. It is possible to activate such features by subscribing to their corresponding services. For example, special setup for engine, gear, or chassis control and additional driving assistant and infotainment capabilities. However, security measures should be in place to prevent unauthorized feature activation. Second, infotainment. Upcoming integrated wireless broadband communication promises a brisk market for automotive-related on-demand sales. Embedded a reliable digital rights management enables business model for usage metered and on-demand utilization of digital content, software, and even hardware beyond the classical lump sum model. However, business model using digital content that has usage or access restrictions are only possible with the secure and reliable implemented DRM systems, as it could be sent in various DRM scenarios such as pay TV, as it could be seen in various DRM scenarios such as pay TV, online music stores, or video games consoles. Having no such secure modules, the business model will certainly fail. At last, an outlook on the future of IT security in cars are in the form of the following recommendation and conclusions. First, IT security will be a necessary requirement for many future automotive applications. Second, IT security will allow a multitude of new IT-based business models. Third, IT security will be integrated invisibly in embedded devices. Fourth, IT security solutions have to be designed extremely carefully. Fifth, Embedded security in vehicles has to deal with resources constraint, tight costs, and physical security. 6. The multi-tier manufacturing chain for modern vehicles can have implications for the security design. 7th, merging the automotive IT and the embedded security community will allow many new applications.